I was scared and kind of like, what the f did I just do? Where am I? What's going on? Like, please, angels, keep me safe, you know? Hello loves, welcome to another video. I am so happy to have you here, and if this is your first time, my name is Jenna. I have an online crystal shop called Pretty Crystals where I sell crystals for healing, happiness, harmony, and home decor. You can shop the website at www.prettycrystals.shop. Hang out with me on Instagram at Pretty Crystals. All of the pieces you see here, minus this beautiful tower, is available for sale on the website. So today I have a very fun video planned for you. Happy Wednesday. Typically I post on Saturdays, but I'm doing an extra video this week for a couple of reasons. First of all, I have some inventory that came in and I want to share it with you, of course. And second of all, I really am feeling called to focus heavily on YouTube. So I am experimenting with how my schedule will look, getting 2 videos up a week, possibly Wednesdays and Saturdays. So happy Wednesday, or whenever you're watching this. So I'm going to show you some new additions we have to the Pretty Crystal collection, and I'm going to start talking about my travels, which is something that I'm very excited to share, and it's going to be like a fun, cozy chit chat, story time, good vibes, good energy. Let's just get right into it. Get yourself a drink or a snack. I have some coffee today. It's kind of early as I'm filming this. Well, it's not that early. I'm a little behind schedule per usual. It's 11:02 and I have some coffee in this Crystal Goddess mug. This is a new merch idea that I've been playing around with, but I don't think this is like the final design. I have some ideas of how I want to tweak this. Like I do want to make the text a little bit darker, and then I might take away these flowers and crystals on the side and just kind of have the merch say Crystal Goddess. Feel free to give me your opinions. That is greatly appreciated because it's very helpful. But yeah, I absolutely love this mug. I just think I'm going to do a couple little tweaks before I make it for sale as merch, but that's really exciting. So today's collection I'm very excited about because this is very like me. If you know me, I just love wings and angels, all things wings, butterflies, angels, fairies, like anything with wings I just feel very drawn to. So yes, very obsessed. And then roses as well. Probably my favorite flower, and I just find them like so feminine and ethereal and beautiful. I need to start doing this again, but there was a while where like every week it was my little routine to just go buy myself some fresh roses and have them in my apartment, and it just made me feel so good, and I just love roses so much. So this is the Wings and Roses collection, and yeah, very excited to share with you. I'm trying to decide if I should like start the story time first or start with a crystal. We'll start the story first. I brought my handy dandy journal to the party today because I journaled most of my trip in here. I actually wish I did more. I kind of stopped towards the end. Okay, I guess I did continue until I got home, but I just wasn't doing it like as daily towards the end. But I did journal most of my trip here, so I'm going to be probably referring back to this. If you don't know, and I apologize for being like such a broken record about this because I'm sure some of you have heard it many times, but about a year ago on 10/10/2021, I left the country and I traveled around Europe for about a year, partly with a friend I had at the time and partly solo. I took the year off social media. I wasn't well, in the beginning I did, but then it just became too much and I was like, you know what? I just want this time for myself. I really want to soak this all in. And I didn't think I would ever talk about it on social media. It was just kind of like a year that I took to myself. But I don't know, I'm just like loving being more open and honest. That's something that's always been difficult for me because I fear judgment and I fear being criticized and I fear people using, you know, things that are sacred to me against me. But you know what? I think I've transcended that whole mindset, at least for the most part, and I'm enjoying just chatting and letting you a little bit more in on my life, and it's really fun and I hope you enjoy it. So yeah, we're gonna get into the travels, what happened, what it was like, the good, the bad, the ugly, because it was not all rainbows and butterflies. And that's kind of like another reason I want to talk about it, is because I think a lot of people put, you know, traveling on a pedestal, and there's definitely some, you know, not so nice things about it. So this will definitely be like a series if you enjoy it, because there's no way I could talk about everything in one video. We would be here for like 6 hours. So we'll do it in little chunks, but if you could let me know if you are feeling it or not, that would be helpful, so I can do, obviously, you know, what is the most entertaining and fun for you to watch, because that's why I'm here. So yeah, let's get started. By the way, I was with a friend at the time. We were together for the first 4 or 5 months of travel, and then we decided to separate, which is kind of like a whole story in and of itself. I won't go too deep into that, just to like respect her privacy. We aren't really communicating anymore, so I would say right now we're not friends, but there's no like ill will or hard feelings about that. But I just want to, you know, put that out there. I think it's kind of going to be hard to like tell this story without her, so just know that I was with a friend in the beginning, which I'm so grateful for, because first of all, without this person, I wouldn't have gone. I would never have known that it was like even possible to just live abroad and go. It just, that never crossed my mind and was never something I thought I would do. So it really is in part to her that I had this experience, and will definitely forever be grateful for that. So yeah, we were in it together. So October 10th, 2021, the day had arrived that it was time to fly to Portugal with only my freaking suitcase. There's something about getting rid of all your stuff and literally just having a bag and a backpack of your stuff. It's so petrifying and liberating at the same time. I will say, although I was scared, it was mostly just like thrilling and exciting, and I was just so down for the ride. Like, I knew in my heart that whatever happened, this was going to be a part of my story and a part of my journey, and that it would, you know, benefit me in some way. So yeah, I think like getting on the plane that day and flying over there, I was just kind of in this like fun headspace, like head in the clouds, like very excited, didn't know what to expect, and just like ready for the journey. So we landed in Lisbon, Portugal. Remember, we got to our first place that we were staying, a little Airbnb. It was really cute. The street felt very like typical European vibes. I do remember this pretty clearly. That first night we went out walking because we needed to get dinner. I remember walking down these streets, and it was just like a very crowded, busy place. I remember on this specific street there were a lot of different hostels and just a lot of energy. Lisbon was probably the place that overwhelmed me the most, and it's interesting because as you travel you kind of talk to a lot of different people about their experiences and where they've been, and a lot of people love Lisbon and say it's like one of their favorite places. And for me, it was definitely like probably bottom of my list, mainly because the energy there for me was so intense. And something that I'll probably reference a lot throughout this, that was one of the hardest parts for me, is the male attention and the way that men treated us. I don't even know where to start. It's gross. It's kind of hard to stay in the moment when literally like 99% of the men walking by you are staring at you, looking you up and down, acting like you're, you know, a freaking piece of meat that they're drooling at. It was just like a very uncomfortable thing that was a theme of my travels. And that's what I would say to any solo female traveler, is just like, be prepared for that and maybe come up with something that can protect your energy in that way, because that was the hardest thing for me, and I'm a very empathic person. The person that I was with was not an empath, so it wasn't as difficult for her to deal with, but for me, it just, I felt so violated and so vulnerable when like you're literally getting like basically assaulted every time you step out the door. People are whistling at you, staring at you, saying gross things. Like, it was just a lot for me to handle, even though it's not like I've never been through that before. I mean, I grew up in Brooklyn, for God's sakes, and I remember walking to school as a 13-year-old girl and counting the amount of men who heckled me. It's really disgusting. It's actually something that makes my blood boil, because I wish there was a way to change it. But when you go to certain countries and you realize like that's kind of their culture and that's all they know and are accustomed to, you feel a little bit like helpless, not really knowing how to deal with that or like change that. So yeah, I would say that was my least favorite part about traveling, was the men, to be honest. It's just not okay. You can see how heated I get talking about that, like my whole chest is getting red. Anyway, let's take a little breaky poo, and I'm going to show you some pieces from our Wings and Roses collection. Let's dive back into a little feminine energy, shall we? I love feminine energy, and I've grown to just like appreciate and love the female body so much. And I guess I didn't even like plan this or think of this, but I guess it's kind of ironic that I'm going to show you this piece when I'm talking about like men like oogling women's bodies and like degrading women. Anyway, I have this figurine that I have been wanting for a very long time. I have a friend who had a very successful candle business, and she made these, and they've been kind of popular. To me, this is just like the coolest statement piece to have in the home that represents like femininity and the energy of like Venus and just all things love. But I have this big, beautiful rose quartz bod. I am just so obsessed with her. Again, this is like so funny to me that I'm talking about the whole like male gaze situation slash issue and like showing this female figure. I just hate that in society like this is so sexualized, and like men feel like they have a right to sexualize us and think it's like for them and just be really gross. It's probably like my biggest ick. I don't know, I hope I'm explaining this properly, but this is like dedicated to the females and the beautiful feminine energies out there and bodies of all shapes and sizes, and like it's just for us, like not the men, you know? And it should be just like respected and idolized in a different way, in my opinion. And I'm not saying there aren't men out there that are respectful. I just experienced a lot of vulgar behavior that made me kind of grossed out about like the general population of men in this world. Anyway, this piece I just think is gorgeous. It represents femininity to me. Yeah, I really, really love her, and I think it would be such a beautiful, beautiful statement piece for the home. She's got some gorgeous rainbows as well. So we're walking around that night that we arrived in Portugal. We ended up finding an Indian place, which Indian food is probably my favorite food. I will say in Portugal we ate a lot of Indian food. There was a lot of Indian food there. I don't have any diary entries from being in Lisbon. We were only there for a few nights, but I do remember that first night feeling like the fear sinking in. And it was only like that night and the next morning, that was probably the only time that I got like really kind of like, oh crap, like what the hell am I doing here? What did I do to my life? I'm petrified. feeling really kind of like alone and scared and freaked out and missing my mom. Like my mom and I are close and it's hard for me to leave her. It's always been like, we've always been kind of like connected. Like I would have horrible separation anxiety from my mom when I was little, and like I couldn't have sleepovers, and like I just think a lot of that kind of child energy was coming back, and I just like missed my mom and I was scared and kind of like, what the did I just do? Where am I? What's going on? Like, please, angels, keep me safe, you know? But like I said, that feeling passed. And yeah, we spent a few nights in Lisbon. There are a lot of drug dealers that will come up to you every 5 seconds and ask you if you want any sort of street drugs, which of course the answer was no. And yeah, it's just a lot of energy. So if you're an empathic person and you get kind of overwhelmed by different energies, Lisbon might be a lot for you, as it was for me. I remember too, there was a crystal shop right by our first Airbnb, and I thought that was really cool, and I took it as a sign like, okay, you're in the right place, you're on the right path, just keep going, girl, like keep moving forward, it's all gonna be okay. Okay, so the next stop was Estoril. I'm not gonna pronounce that correctly. It was kind of like a little beachy town that was very, very, very different from Lisbon, and this is when I was like, oh god, because really nobody here spoke English. It wasn't like a very touristy place, so it was quite a different experience. And we got this little hotel. I remember we got off the train and we had to drag our suitcases up this really, really, really big hill, and at the top of the hill was, I think, Europe's biggest casino. It was quite small, and it was at the top of this like beautiful park, and then our hotel was right across the street from it. So we dragged our suitcases up that hill, huffing and puffing, finally got to the hotel. Here's our little view from the balcony, and then there's the casino, and then we have our ocean view too. The sky is like so beautiful right now. It's actually 12:12. Gorgeous. And that's when I did write in my journal for the first time. It was Sunday, October 17th in Estoril, Portugal. And I'll read you a little bit of this entry because it kind of like gives you an idea of where my headspace was. So I said, hello from Estoril, Portugal. We have been in Europe for about 5 days. This morning's prayer, dear God/universe, which is interesting because I don't really say God very often, so I don't know why I wrote that, but okay. Dear God, universe, thank you for giving me such a restful night's sleep. Please return all of my beautiful energy back to me and release any energy that does not serve me. I welcome today with an open heart. And anyway, here we are. Can you believe it? We spent our first 4 nights in Lisbon exploring. It was a really cool city, but also very overwhelming. Of course, I enjoyed the fancy area with all of the shops. Yeah, there is this like ritzy part of Lisbon with a lot of shopping, and that's like my jam. I loved it in that area. Now we are in a much more quaint, beachy town. I still feel like I am on a journey to find myself. I've been holding up okay, but my anxiety, anger, and depression does come in waves. I know that my morning habits will help so much. For now, I'm meditating and journaling, and I'm committed to finding my truth and happiness. I am surrendering to what the universe has to offer me. I'm not sure what we will do today since it is pretty cloudy and rainy. I do feel like my team of angels are here supporting me, which I really do appreciate. Relax, surrender, and enjoy the ride. I will continue to journal our journey. Thank you for providing these pages for me to write. I release fear, I release fear, I release fear, I release fear, I release fear. So yeah, I think I was going through the motions, but yeah, the whole time just very committed to finding myself and finding my happiness and finding my joy. And I don't remember writing that, but it's really nice that I kind of knew my team of angels was with me. Okay, so I have two white jade cherubs for you. I've never had any white jade, but it is known as a very lucky stone, and these are going to be our lucky little cherubs. So two will be available on the website for you, and oh, I'm so obsessed with them. I just freaking love them. After Estoril, we headed to Lagos, which someone said, did you hook up with any foreign boys? LOL, JK, which I will get to that very soon. So let's travel on to Lagos, which was probably my favorite part of Portugal, and just like a little more ritzy, a little more fancy and quaint, and a lot of like older couples there, a lot of boats, and it was just like more my style. We got a really cute little condo there, and we decided to go out. We were kind of still in like, I would say, a little bit of party mode at this point, which means still enjoying drinks and like being in that kind of like vacation mode, which can be like very exciting. So at this point I was still drinking. I did stop drinking after the new year because I decided to do sober 2022. But yeah, at this point, the drinks were still pouring. They have really good sangria in Portugal, by the way, so it was kind of hard to stay away from that. But yeah, we wanted to like party and mingle, and the friend I was with is a very social butterfly kind of gal. So yeah, we definitely wanted to go out, explore the town, and have some drinks. We got on Tinder and we started matching with guys, and we did like a, oh my god, it's so funny. We did a dual profile together on Tinder, and to this day, I'm pretty sure I'm still banned because I don't think you can do that, and I think like some people reported us. So we ended up getting banned from Tinder down the line, but at this point we were still good to go. So we had a little profile saying like, hey, we're two girls from California. We are here exploring. We want to meet some friends, have some fun. So there was one night where we matched with this guy, and let's think of a name for him. Should we say Paolo, or is that too like, no, that's too cliche. Yeah, let's just call him Tom. So we matched with this guy, Tom. Thought he was cute, whatever, and we made a plan to meet this guy that night. I remember I really wasn't feeling like going out. I was exhausted, and it was like my time of the month, and I had cramps and just felt like not hot and not it, so didn't want to go out. But I put on my leopard dress that I have. I really love that dress, and we went to this little place, this little rooftop bar, and got some sangria, and he ended up meeting us a little bit later. It's very rare for me to like a guy, okay? It's been a while. It takes a lot for me to become interested in someone, but this guy, for whatever reason, was a little bit different for me. He walked up, sat down. I remember thinking like, okay, he is very cute. He's South African, and the accent, like, it's a thing for me now. I thought Australian accents were like, had all the girls swooning. If you hear a South African accent, you have to tell me if you feel this way. It literally like melts me. I love it so much, and it is like, I guess, such a turn on for me. I was like swooning at the accent. So he sat down, chatted with us. I was very impressed that he was so like kind of confident with meeting two girls by himself. But yeah, we all had like good conversation, good banter. The drinks kind of kept coming. We decided to go somewhere else, I think after we had the second pitcher of sangria at the rooftop bar, and we just started like walking around looking for another place. We were like, don't worry, Tom, we will find a good place to go. We just kind of have to like follow our internal compass and intuition. And that is what happened. We were walking around. Again, this town is so cute, by the way. If you ever go to Portugal, go to Lagos. It's just like a magical, like villagey, wealthy vibe. It's just so nice. So we were walking around. There were a lot of other people out. It was probably like a Friday night because I think it was like, you know, it was a going out kind of night. And we ended up finding this one bar right at the top of the street, and walked up some stairs and found another rooftop, which was poppin'. There were so many people there. And by this point, I was feeling good. I was feeling the drinks. I think we all were. And we just continued having conversations. We were talking astrology as always. He was an Aquarius, and we were kind of like picking his brain about his life and his past relationships. It was super interesting because he had never really had a long-term relationship, and he was younger, by the way. He was 26, which is another thing that like I do not go for younger guys. Like if I'm gonna date a guy, he's probably gonna be like way older than me. But I was like, I don't know, the more we were talking and the tipsier or drunker, I should say, I was getting, the more I was like, okay, I'm really like feeling this guy. I really, really like him. I don't know. This is when we started like, I guess, magnetizing towards each other. And again, this is like a very blurry night for me, but we started smooching in the club. And I just remember like a flash of him like looking at me. He was like, you're such a goddess. And I was like, oh my God, like say no more. I was in love. I was like so in love at that point. And again, like that's just so rare for me. I don't know what it was, if I was swept up in the energy of being away, or like it was all the drinking, or like something about him, which I'll get into. I think there was like some sort of like past life thing with him, like something spiritual, because yeah, this guy did a number on my head. He really, really did. He came back to the condo with us, and I'll just, you know, leave it at that. It was a fun, wild night. So let's take a little break there, and I will show you some more pieces. I looked long and hard for these. I contacted a lot of different sellers to see if they could make these, and finally found the perfect ones. I just think they are stunning. So I have two beautiful rose quartz roses for you, and what could be more loving, sweet, and feminine than these? Oh, they're so, so, so beautiful. And I have two gorgeous pieces that will be available. Of course, rose quartz is the crystal of love, and I think these will just bring so much love and femininity into your home. That goes for this whole collection, I feel. So I hope you love these. Again, they'll be available on the website, and oh, I love them. So yeah, the next day I woke up, he left in the morning, and I felt really like happy, I guess. He messaged me and said he wanted to have a beach day. He wanted me to come see him on the beach, and I think like I had some work to do that day, so I couldn't go see him. But yeah, we were like talking, and I just felt this like connection with him, and I felt very drawn to him. Like I wanted to talk to him more. I did end up going to see him, I think the following night, where he was staying, which was like another little town. Just picture in your head the most like magical, perfect little European town with like beautiful white houses, beautiful pink flowers, little kitty cats like walking around and sunning themselves, the sound of the ocean in the background. Like that was the vibe of that place. yeah, again, one thing led to another. We had our fun, but yeah, there was something so bizarre about my like relationship with this guy because it brought up so much pain for me, and I'm not really sure like where that came from, if it triggered a lot of past stuff or if there literally was something about him, as if like, as in, you know, knowing him in a past life or something. But it was so strange. I got so almost depressed and like upset about him, and like all these fears about like, oh crap, like I kind of like this person, but like I know it could never work. And I'm sure it was a mixture of, you know, the alcohol too. Me and alcohol have a very like not so healthy relationship all the time, and it does, you know, trigger my depression. So that was probably playing into it. But I remember like it took me a while to get over this, and like nothing really even happened. I just like, he continued to talk to me, but like I almost felt like I was mourning some sort of loss. It was very strange. It was very strange. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, the next week or two I felt like I was in this mourning place, and like I felt so raw and hurt, and maybe it's because him and I were intimate. I don't know, but it started triggering stuff, and that was a big lesson for me because I had to work through that. I had to work on healing that. It was a lot. It was heavy, heavy, heavy emotionally. And him and I like continued talking here and there. He actually really tried to pursue me at one point, and I just knew in my heart like he wasn't right for me, and it would never work out between us, and I wasn't down to just be like a hookup. So yeah. So on Tuesday, October 26th, I wrote, "It is our last day here in Lagos. So much beauty and so much pain. I hope I can leave some of the pain behind, a much needed release." Tom represented a repeating pattern that I no longer wish to be a part of. "I will work on loving and respecting myself to the fullest. I feel like my heart is cracking open so that I can heal. There are so many beautiful experiences to be had. I decided that I don't want to post on YouTube anymore, and that decision feels good. It feels like a release. I am walking towards my purpose and my destiny. I am on my way, focusing on freedom and love. Just had my coaching call with Paige. She told me to focus on what I want: freedom, love, excitement, beauty. I have a bit of clarity knowing that I'm on the right path. Going through some big changes, getting ready to love life again, to fall in love with myself. My own beautiful little love story." All right, my camera just died, so I had to charge it for a few minutes. So if it looks a little different, that is why. I think I will wrap up today's video here because I'm sure I've been talking for a while, but I would love if you could let me know if you like this and if I should continue the kind of like travel story time series. And if you do, I absolutely will. I'll be back on Saturday. The collab that I have with Dawn Star Collection is finally going to be available. I have the body chains and hand chains. This is just looks really big on me because I had to put it on by myself and I wasn't able to get the clasp any smaller, but have these beautiful, beautiful pieces. They'll be available on Saturday the 26th, I believe it is. Before you go, if you could please like and subscribe, that would mean the world to me. I'm very excited about growing this channel and connecting with you on a deeper level, connecting with more of you. If you're not already, come hang out with me on Instagram at Pretty Crystals. And check out the website for all of the pieces from the Wings and Roses collection, www.prettycrystals.shop. Yeah, leave me a comment. I would love to hear what you're up to, what you thought of my experience, if anything resonated. And thank you for allowing me to be so open and honest here. I really appreciate it. And I love that we're kind of on this journey together. So cheers to you wherever you are on this life journey. We're in it together. I love you, and I'll see you in my next video this Saturday and over on Instagram. Bye.